Bettina was the daughter of Maximiliana LaRouche, a woman with whom Goethe was in love when he was 23. If we don't count a few chaste kisses, it was a non-physical kind of love, purely sentimental, and it left no consequences. If only because Maximiliana's mother promptly married her daughter off to the wealthy Italian merchant Brentano. When he saw that the young poet planned to continue flirting with his wife, Brentano threw him out of his house and forbade him ever to appear there again. Maximiliana then gave birth to 12 children. That Italian stud fathered 20 in his lifetime, and she christened one of them Elizabeth. That was Bettina. Bettina was attracted to Goethe from her earliest youth. For one thing, because in the eyes of all Germany he was striding toward the Temple of Fame. For another, because she learned of the love he had once borne for her mother. She began to immerse herself passionately in that distant love, all the more bewitching for its distance. My God, it took place 13 years before she was born. And the feeling slowly grew in her that she had some sort of secret right to the great poet, because in the metaphoric sense of the word, and who should take metaphors seriously if not a poet, she considered herself his daughter. It is a well-known fact that men have an unfortunate tendency to avoid paternal duties, to fall delinquent in alimony payments, and to ignore their children. They refuse to grasp that a child is the very essence of love. Yes, the essence of every love is a child, and it makes no difference at all whether it has ever actually been conceived or born. In the algebra of love, a child is the symbol of the magical sum of two beings. Even if a man loves a woman without so much as touching her, he must reckon with the possibility that his love may engender an issue and emerge into the world even 13 years after the last meeting of the lovers. This is more or less what Bettina had been telling herself before she finally gathered enough courage to come to Weimar and call on Goethe. It was in the spring of 1807. She was 22 years old, about the same age as Goethe when he courted her mother. But she still felt like a child. That feeling mysteriously protected her, as if childhood were her shield. To carry the shield of childhood in front of her, that was her lifelong ruse, a ruse and yet also something natural, for already as a child she had become used to playing at being a child. She was always a little in love with her elder brother, the poet Clemens Brentano, and she greatly enjoyed sitting on his lap. Even then, she was 14, she knew how to savor the triple ambiguity of being at the same time a child, a sister, and a desirable woman. Is it possible to push a child off one's lap? Not even Goethe would be able to do so. In 1807, on the day of their first meeting, she sat herself on his lap, if we can trust her own description. First, she sat on the couch, facing Goethe. He talked in a conventionally mournful tone of voice about the Duchess Amelia, who had died a few days earlier. Bettina said that she knew nothing about it. How is that possible? Goethe said with surprise. Aren't you interested in the life of Weimar? Bettina said, I am interested in nothing but you. Goethe smiled and said the following fateful words to the young woman. You are a charming child. As soon as she heard the word child, she lost all shyness. She announced that she was uncomfortable on the couch and jumped to her feet. Sit down where you feel comfortable, said Goethe. And Bettina sat on his lap and hugged him. She felt so good snuggled up against him that soon she fell asleep. It's hard to say whether things really happened like that or whether Bettina made it up, but if she did, then so much the better. She is revealing to us how she wants us to see her, and she describes her method of approaching men. In a childlike way, she was impudently sincere, declaring that she didn't care about the death of the Duchess and that she was uncomfortable on the couch on which dozens of visitors had been grateful to sit. In a childlike way, she jumped on his lap and hugged him, and to top it all off, in a childlike way, she fell asleep there. Nothing is more useful than to adopt the status of a child. A child can do whatever it likes, for it is innocent and inexperienced. It need not observe the rules of social behavior, for it has not yet entered a world ruled by form. It may show its feelings, whether they are appropriate or not. People who refuse to see the child in Bettina used to say that she was crack-brained. Once, while dancing with joy, she fell and knocked her head against the corner of a table. Badly brought up. In society, she would sit on the floor rather than in a chair. And especially catastrophically unnatural. On the other hand, those willing to see her as an eternal child were bewitched by her natural spontaneity. Goethe was moved by the child. She reminded him of his own youth, and he gave Bettina a beautiful ring as a present. That evening, he noted tersely in his diary, Mamselle Brentano,